doing our micro lesson. My name is Courtney, and we're going to get started, I think, right now, as it is already 7 o'clock. Give me 1 second here, and I'm going to start sharing my screen, and then I will properly introduce myself. We're going to do a short micro lesson on the benefits of challenging the CHIM National Certification Exam, and I'll explain the acronym coming up in case this is all new to you. My name is Courtney Sabo, and I am an instructor within the Health Information Management program here at Ashton College. So again, thank you for joining me this evening. So just to get started, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Courtney, and I am a certified health information management professional. Previously, though, but before I graduated from health information management, I was actually a veterinary technologist. So I actually went to school prior, and I took vet nursing, graduated from that, and discovered that I loved animals, but it wasn't quite the job for me. And so I stumbled upon health information management, as a lot of people do, and really, really loved it. So I had gone back to school and had taken health information management at a college called Red River College Polytechnic, which is actually based here in Winnipeg. So I'm actually based in Winnipeg, and I teach from here. So I actually also teach at that college as well. I graduated from that program in 2016. And then I started working in the field and eventually got into instructing within the field. And through that, I did take a teaching for learning in applied education certificate. That was in 2022. And then not long after that, I wanted to gain a little bit more education in the actual field. And so I took a specialization in coding and classifications. I actually went and took another course, and it was a coding specialization course through another college called CHA Learning, another completely online college, and then successfully challenged what we call the CCCS exam. And that gave me a specialization in coding and classification. So if you are planning to take, or you are in the health information management program right now, you know all about the coding world, or you will very soon, and possibly I'll be seeing you. And so I did take that certification exam also through CHIMA, and that was just last year. So that's just another designation. We're not speaking about that one this evening, but definitely once you feel more confident with their examination processes, you're welcome to explore all the different credentials that you could obtain. So maybe that's another micro lesson one day. And finally, I just wanted to mention before we get started that I do still work for CHIMA. So I actually work for the Canadian Health Information Management Association. My title there is pretty vague, so health information specialist, and that's only because I kind of work on all different sorts of projects with them, and I support their main team over there. So that being said, I thought this was a really good topic for a micro session this evening, just in case you are having some questions about, not too confident about what this certification exam is, and we'll just go through the basics this evening, okay? And there will be a period for questions at the end through the chat, or you're welcome to just speak up if you'd like. And that's just in case something comes up along the way, okay? So we're going to start with just a basic overview here of, well, what is this national certification exam? I know it sounds quite daunting. Sometimes you are going to see it abbreviated to NCE. So just so you know what that means, that does refer to the National Certification Exam. It is hosted by our accrediting national association, which is called CHIMA. Again, if you are in the health information management program, you probably know all about CHIMA. You might even be a student member if you're a student right now. But those of you who maybe this is quite new, CHIMA stands for the Canadian Health Information Management Association. And this is Canada's national professional association for health information professionals. So it's really nice when you join a profession that you do have a professional association that you can join. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the benefits of that. By joining, you do get a lot of benefits. And so the way that you should join once you've graduated is through becoming a professional member. And that's what taking this exam is all about. So the CHIM then is what we call our professional designation. This stands for Certified in Health Information Management. Unless you have successfully challenged the CHIM National Certification Exam, you cannot use that designation. So it does hold quite a lot of value, and employers really do recognize this credential. So again, somebody who does not have this may not be, finding jobs as quickly as those who do have this certification. The CHIM credential is overseen by the Canadian College of Health Information Management. They run right alongside CHIMA. So they are actually part of CHIMA. They are just this little pocket of people who work on all things certification. So that goes for, accrediting colleges to be able to teach this topic, but then also hosting the exams and certification processes. So you see that they're the official ones that are the certifying body, and they also set the competencies for certification. They manage everything exam-wise. So you will often see CHIMA and what we sometimes say CHIM or the Canadian College together. It's because it really does fall under one organization. They're just the team that specifically works on that aspect. So don't be too confused by that. So what are the requirements to write this exam? And basically what happens is this is an exam that you're going to want to consider taking once you graduate from your program. That is one way to do this. The reason for that is, again, it gives you this credential, which adds a lot of value to your resume when you're applying for jobs. It shows that you are accredited to do these certain duties, right? You have the knowledge and the skill set to do these duties, and that's really promising for employers. So how do we go about this? Okay. The first thing you're going to want to make sure that you have when you are ready to apply, okay, if you're thinking about this, is that you are going to want to have an active CHIMA membership. So typically we see that those applying have a student membership. That is a requirement of your HIM program here at Ashton. And that typically is the requirement across the country within HIM schools. So we typically do make the CHIMA membership a requirement because we do get a lot of helpful resources through CHIMA. So that shouldn't really be an issue. That being said, if you don't have a student membership, maybe you did graduate some time ago, you might hold an affiliate membership, and that's fine. But regardless, in order to be able to sign up for the exam, you are going to have to hold a current membership. As far as education goes, there are various routes for this. The first one is probably the most applicable one, and the one that applies to most people is that they are a graduate of a health information management program accredited, again, by the Canadian College of HIM. And if you are a student here at Ashton, that would be the requirement that you meet. Ashton College does run an accredited program, accredited HIM program. So you would qualify with that. Now, if that's not your case, you're not necessarily a student with us yet, the other options are also here. So completion of an accredited HIM fundamentals program. You're saying, what is that? It's very similar to our diploma in HIM. We typically see our HIM fundamentals programs offering a certificate at times. It depends on the program hours. The fundamentals programs run just a little bit differently. They don't focus heavily on medical coding, and there are some other curricular differences. But one major thing that we have in place is that if you are taking an HIM fundamentals program, you actually do need a pre-existing degree in something to get into that program. So again, if you're new to the industry altogether, that might be a route you explore. Of course, we really advocate for the diploma in our school because we do see significant value with the diploma in HIM. You could also have certification from an international partner, and there are some international associations listed there. The American, the Australian, and actually the Korean HIM bodies. And our newest pathway for this education eligibility is actually what we call the experiential pathway. And what this does is it actually allows those already working within the HIM field for at least 3 years, and those that also in conjunction with that have a degree, you can actually challenge the exam based on that only. So you are going to want to have significant experience working in the field to do that. So again, coming from our stance here at the college, Ashton College, we're thinking more so you're going to be a graduate of our HIM program, and you are going to have that diploma. So you're good to go there. Application and fees. So you will go through an application process on the website, and you do see quite a large fee here. Now, this is actually on par for basically any other professional association found within other industries. This actually might be even a little bit less than some of the other ones that you'll explore. For example, nursing. These do tend to come with a little bit higher of a price tag just because of the value that it does offer. So this is $498 Canadian plus applicable taxes per sitting. So you are going to want to study, right? You're probably not going to want to pay that twice. So we do encourage, spending the time to study and review the content from your program. And then we usually see people are very successful. So please don't worry, okay? And then part of the application process will require you to submit an official transcript, and that just shows that you are, in fact, a graduate of the program. And of course, you can get that through Ashton College, okay? And it's really nice when you apply for this. CHIMA's website actually runs through this whole process with you, and that is something else I'll quickly mention towards the end, okay? A little bit about the exam. So the format of the National Certification Exam, it is computer-based, obviously. We're not going to bring you in and give you a piece of paper to write on. Wouldn't make sense when you're taking an online program. So computer-based, you can do this out of the comfort of your home. It is proctored. So what that means is there is a third party that is technically there kind of in the background, watching what you kind of do on your screen. It's just to ensure academic integrity is respected. Maybe some of you have written one of these proctored exams before. Usually what we require is that you sit in a separate room that has a closing door, and you show the entirety of the room before you start, just to make sure that you don't have 10 textbooks out and things like that. But pretty straightforward. The technology is really easy to use, and there's way to test your technology before you get started, so you're not nervous about that at all. 154 multiple choice questions. Each question will be displayed on a separate page, and I like that because that allows you to focus on one question at a time. You're not, looking ahead or looking back. You're focused. 210 minutes, which equals 3 hours and 30 minutes. I know that sounds like a long time, but you're going to want to use the entire amount of time you're given, okay? Take your time. Some people will write this quicker. If that's the type of exam taker you are, then that's fine. But I always recommend students use their time to the fullest, just to make sure that you feel confident when you leave. It's offered during various scheduled exam windows. Back when I took this, we had two chances throughout the year to take it. Now there's lots of chances. You do have to schedule it, however, and so I'll show you that coming up, just some of the next offerings of the exam. Now, I often get this question, so I wanted to include it because I know this is probably a question maybe burning in your mind. A candidate who is unsuccessful writing the CHIM NCE on the first attempt may rewrite the examination 2 more times. So this is actually for a total of 3 times. It's a lot. And I apologize if there's a dog barking in the background. I'm sorry for that. Um, Please do not worry about this. This is a lot of times. You will likely not need this. If you are studying before you go in, I really don't think you're going to have any problems with not passing. I just like to include this because I know that that's kind of one of the first questions that gets asked. So that being said, do not stress about that. So I just wanted to pull this. I actually pulled this from CHIMA's website. This is current. So right now you can see, obviously, we're in 2026. What are the exam dates looking like? So if you are maybe a student of ours and you're getting towards the end of your program, you're thinking, I want to take this as soon as possible, which us as instructors do recommend. We don't recommend waiting years to take this. You see some of your options here. So we would be looking at April 20th to 24th, and then going forward into June, July, September, and then November. So lots of options, and you get to pick any one of those dates. So in the ranges, you can say, okay, well, I want to write it on July 23rd. You just go through CHIMA's application process and you can pick the date, and you can actually pick a start time, which is really nice. So you can kind of accommodate to your schedule and what you're comfortable with and whatever else is going on. Okay. What's on the exam? I know, really big question. Well, they're going to test all the competencies that you learned within your HIM program. So, and they're going to give you a lot of resources for this. So if you're saying, well, I don't know exactly what falls into maybe access and security, you're going to get a lot of prep material from CHIMA that kind of narrows this down for you. So you know, okay, maybe I need to go back to that particular course I took and I'm going to review that content. So we see that the exam is broken into biomedical sciences. So think about your anatomy and physiology, your pathophysiology, medical terminology. That's a really big component. All of your health information science topics that deal with HIM directly, including coding theory. There are no necessarily coding questions where you have to enter the codes. It's all multiple choice. Health information analysis, information systems and technology, access and security, healthcare system in Canada, and of course, very importantly, our ethics and practice. And you will be taking courses in all of these subjects. So these programs really do prepare you for this exam, okay? Passing grade, I know this is a big question as well. So what they ask for is a passing grade is based on the following 2 requirements. So we look at an overall grade, so on the entire exam of 60% or higher. And that being said, on all sections, you do have to get 50% or higher. So let's say we break it down into the biomedical sciences. In those questions or that section of the exam, you do need to get at least 50% or higher. And then overall, in total, 60% or higher. I think it is very achievable and a very fair score to ask for. So you can imagine if this was an 80 or a 90, like that would be very tough, right? So 60% I think is a fair ask for this. And I just see maybe a question. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. Just looking in the chat there. Ashton has put in just some information into the chat. I'll just mention that right now so I don't forget. If you are thinking about taking the HIM program here at Ashton College, you can go into the chat right now, and there is some information in there for you to access online. Okay. Just wanted to mention that as I saw it. So let's continue on here. I know it's a shorter session this evening. Preparing. Don't worry about this too much. You are going to get everything you need. Now, we often say to prepare, you really want to obtain any resources that CHIMA has produced or provided to its members. And this is all, these are all resources that you're going to have access to when you apply. Now, some of them come with a fee. Some of them are completely free. So we always say, hey, you're investing a lot of money in the exam. You should invest in the studying for the exam. And the best way to do that is using CHIMA certified resources. Okay. So they do prepare a whole primer. So they're going to, break down the sections of the exam for you, give you some sample questions. That's really a sort of general guideline. We do have 2 textbooks that CHIMA does supply, and some of you who are HIM students, you know of these textbooks. That's the Fundamentals of HIM, and then, of course, the Canadian Health Information Management Life Cycle textbook as well. The Fundamentals of HIM actually does also come with a study guide, which is really great because we always say with this exam, you're really going to want to focus heavily on studying that particular textbook. So it's nice to have some practice questions that go along with that. So that you find in your study guide. Also provided on the CHIMA website, there is this really nice course that walks you through everything that you need for the exam. So this CHIM NCE prep course, what it does is it starts with the basics. What is this exam? How do I get started? How do I apply? How do I test my system? And so we really recommend you running through this course through the CHIMA website before you do it, because it kind of leads you right through the process. They've made it really easy. And I always recommend that to my students. There is even some practice content within there. You are also going to see some additional practice quizzes through CHIMA that is available. That's not necessarily listed here, but there's lots of resources. And then, of course, the course materials that you actually get from your HIM program, that really sets the foundation for, studying through all these other resources as well. So we do encourage studying for this exam because we don't want you to, spend that amount of money and then not be successful. So finally, let's just talk about the benefits. Why would you want to do this? Now, depending on the province that you're from, and I say that because we're all from different places when we study at Ashton, your province might actually have this as a mandatory requirement to actually be employed as a health information management professional. So there you go. That's the biggest seller, right? In order to get a job, you do need to be certified. Now, that isn't the case for every province, but what we do see now is that in those provinces, even though it's not necessarily mandated, you are going to see it is preferred on those job postings, meaning that if somebody who is credentialed applies versus somebody who's not credentialed applies, the person who has the credential is more likely to be hired. So it does give you that competitive edge when you are in a province that doesn't necessarily make this required. It kind of is, because you do want to be one of the top candidates. So that's huge. Okay. The other things, though, that you get through CHIMA, well, one, tons of professional education opportunities. It's crazy how much education is provided through CHIMA. Myself, I can't even keep up. I'm always in there seeing new educational things posted. That's really great, because once you become a professional member, you actually do have to collect your continuing education credits. CHIMA makes this easy. You can do this all through their website. You don't get that if you're not a member. And an association that requires continuing education is doing the right thing because we want people to stay current, right? So that is a fair requirement. And I've even put on the slide endless CPE opportunities. It's really amazing the content that they produce out of CHIMA. And some of those include what we call professional practice briefs. We have exam preparation materials, as I said. The opportunities are huge. We even have now micro credentials being offered through CHIMA. Think about the extra designation that I explained that I got. Plus, we have some new, guys, this is really exciting. If you are a new graduate and you obtain your CHIM, you do have now, and these applications haven't even started to be accepted yet, but I see on the website it's coming. CHIMA now does also offer entry to practice medical coding certification and entry to practice release of information certification through what we call a micro credential. So that's huge. That means you can continue to add on to that credential list. Employers really like to see that. Again, it makes you more competitive and more desirable by the employer. Okay, communities of practice. We have different groups of people that allows you to connect. If you're a student at Ashton right now, you are actually part of the student community. And I know students tend to be a little bit quiet. They don't talk much in there, but there are lots of other communities that you can join once you're a professional member. And that means if you're working in privacy, you can join the privacy community. If you're working in health information standards, you can join that community. And it just gives a place to connect with others, ask questions, things like that. Enhances professional credibility. We talked about that. Commitment to quality and ethics. It means that you take your job seriously and you want to continue to grow and you want to show the industry that you've made that commitment. You do that by becoming a professional member. And of course, this is nationally and in some places internationally recognized. So, of course, lots of benefits there. If we don't want you to leave, but if that's your plan, it is recognized as a a credential in other places as well. So that kind of wraps up. It's very short and sweet. So just wrapping up about the certification exam, we are going to take some questions right away if you do have, but if you are not a student at Ashton College right now and you are kind of, what is this HIM program? I'll just give you some quick info here. And again, in the chat, more info directly through the link that takes you to our website. 2-year online diploma, really nice. You are getting a diploma out of this. Runs about approximately 2 years and it's all online. Makes it very, very, very flexible. Okay. Accredited by the Canadian College of Health Information Management. That's what you want because that allows you then to challenge that national certification exam. That's great. Flexible delivery. This is awesome. I always think this about Ashton College is that they are the best with flexible delivery. I really have to say, daytime classes, evening classes, synchronous and asynchronous availabilities, meaning sometimes you have to log on and watch the session maybe live. Sometimes you're just given time to work on the content yourself. So I really love Ashton for that reason, is that it really accommodates to everybody's schedule and their lives. That isn't the case for every college out there, right? You see, sometimes they're maybe more strict with that. We do require attendance, so we do want you to attend, but that flexibility is really there. It's awesome. 200-hour in-person practicum. That's quite a large number, and that means it's really good because you get lots of applied practice, okay? That is set up once you get into the program. And of course, hires numerous qualified instructors. I really do like Ashton for the fact that their faculty is massive. And that just means that they're pulling a lot of different people with a lot of different experiences in different areas to instruct within the program. So I think that's really cool as well. Are there any questions? I'm just going to go over to the chat. I'll just pop this up. Okay. So I see the first question here says, does the study guide come with answer or only so you do get the answers provided to you. So in all of the resources that CHIMA provides, when they have any practice questions provided, you will get an answer key as well. So yeah, because you kind of want to know how you do, right? So yeah, answer keys are provided. And with so they do have some practice exams that you can access. I believe that you can actually take these more than once. So like you can continue to practice the questions. So that was for Tiffany's question there. And then another question, are provided by Ashton, or do we, no, Ashton College will set them up. So you don't it's not like other programs where sometimes you have to find your own. That's not the case. Typically with HIM programs, we typically, I'm just saying typically because I know some programs do, you do have to locate it yourself, but we actually find placements for people. So it makes it a bit easier. It's hard when you don't have the contact, right? So yeah, we set that up for you. Just really quickly, what you see on my screen right now is actually the CHIMA website. So I'm logged in. So you're probably a student member. If you're not, you might be an affiliate member, or you're going to be one of those soon. Right now, I'm logged in. So where I am on my page is called the dashboard. And how you get there is once you're logged in, if you go to your little face up here, go to your dashboard, and then you scroll down, and what you're going to see is, we call these like the tiles. You're going to see national examinations. Okay. And then you'll click on it. And then what you're going to see is a tile here to see all the national exams that are offered by CHIMA. And then also, if you've written any, you'll also see your examination history, right? How you did, maybe you failed one, maybe you were successful, right? That history will be there for you. And you see lots of exams here. So you're going to click learn more. And then you're going to see them all popping up right here. CHIM, that's the one we're talking about. So you're going to want to click here for more information. So view your eligibility. And then it's going to really take you through, well, what is this? How do we maintain our certification? I didn't talk much about maintenance, but what happens to maintain is, well, really, if you look right here, annual membership renewal will occur. So there is a yearly cost, of course. And then what happens is you also, of course, want to uphold the professional code of ethics, which typically people don't have a hard time doing. And then you also want to complete your CPE, which just stands for continuing education, basically. And they call it continuing professional education. And again, that's easy to get if you take any sort of course online, if you attend a conference in person, which we all like to do. Lots of opportunities to do that. Really everything you need. So about the NCE, the application, how to study for it, preparing for the actual exam day. What do you have to do, right? Make sure you have good internet connection. Make sure you've tested your system. You don't really want to have system issues the day of. They will run you through this, okay? Writing the exam and then also receiving your results. It does take a couple weeks to get your results, but they typically, in my experience, I've usually received my results actually quicker than what I was expecting. So that is kind of nice. I think it just depends on how many people are writing. So remember, you do have to be a graduate. So once you're a graduate, or you meet one of those other criteria, you can search for your best application process through going through this process as well. Okay. Now there is also the experiential pathway, which is a little bit different in applying, but same resources will be applied to you. I don't think anybody here probably is applying for that. Yeah, I'm just looking at my participants. I know a couple of you. Raylene, you're not, you're a graduate. Jayanga, you're a graduate. So, that being said, if you are like, I need a little bit more of a tutorial on this website, what's really great. And right now it's not live, but when you come to their homepage, probably not going to show up for me. But when you come to their homepage, when you first log in, there's like a little chat option. And they're really great. They do have a human sitting there that will answer your questions. And they work very quickly. So if you do need help with this, it's there. And you can find more information about the diploma that we offer. Link is in the chat. Even if you're not a CHIMA member, they have a really great website that is designed for non-members as well. So you can just type in Canadian Health Information Management Association, and you can be taken to the general page that tells you everything about the professions, and explore that, because that will really help answer a lot of questions. You know, do you want to take a program? Do you want to write the exam, right? So that's really helpful in answering some of those questions if you are new to the profession. All right, so I guess that kind of ends our micro lesson on what the NCE is through CHIMA and the benefits. Thank you all for attending, and of course, if you do have any questions, you're welcome to reach out to Ashton College, and they will connect you with the appropriate people to ask to answer any of your questions. Okay. Thank you everybody for attending, and have a great evening.